What if you were walking down the street, minding your own business, and suddenly you hear someone yelling for help? You look up, and across the street, a stranger is surrounded by a group of people. They are in clear distress, and it is obvious that they need help. But here is the catch. You are by yourself, it is dark, and the situation could be dangerous. Maybe these people are dangerous too. You have two options. You could run to their aid and risk your own safety, or you could just keep walking, pretending you did not see anything. Now here is the real question. What should you do? This is not just a random thought experiment. This kind of situation happens in real life, and it raises a huge moral question. When someone is in danger and helping them puts you at risk, do you have a moral obligation to help them anyway? If you have ever been in a situation where you were not sure what the right thing to do was, or if you have just wondered what people are actually supposed to do in situations like these, then you are in the right place. Today we are diving deep into two major moral theories to help answer that question: utilitarianism and deontological ethics. Now, I know these sound like heavy terms, but stick with me, because by the end of this video you will have a much clearer idea of why you might do one thing versus another in a tough situation, and you will be able to understand why people do what they do. Before we dive in, though, hit that subscribe button so you do not miss out on more thought-provoking discussions like this one. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around because we are about to explore some wild concepts. Let's go. All right, let's set the scene. You're walking down the street, maybe you are going to class, or grabbing a late-night snack, or just out for a stroll. Everything is normal, but then you hear a scream. Your heart starts racing and you instinctively look around. There across the street, a stranger is surrounded by a group of people. It is obvious that they are in danger. You do not know them, but it is clear that something bad is happening. Maybe they are being attacked, or maybe they just need help with something that is spiraling out of control. You are not involved in this situation. It has nothing to do with you, and yet you feel something inside you. Maybe it is fear, maybe it is guilt. But either way, you know you could do something about it. But here's the thing, you are also aware that helping them might mean putting yourself at risk. Maybe the people surrounding them could turn on you. Maybe you would end up getting hurt too. So, you have two choices: help them and risk your own safety. Or stay safe and call for help, but keep your distance. This is where moral philosophy can help us make sense of the situation. It is not as clear-cut as just doing the right thing. People disagree about what the right thing is, and depending on which moral theory you follow, you might make a completely different choice. Let us first look at utilitarianism. Utilitarianism is all about outcomes. It is a theory that says the morally right thing to do is whatever results in the greatest good for the greatest number of people. So in our scenario, a utilitarian would focus on the consequences of your actions. They would ask, what would cause the most happiness or the least harm for the most people? Imagine this. By helping the stranger, you might save their life. That could bring happiness to them, and maybe even to their family and friends. But it is also possible that things could go wrong. You might get hurt or even worse. So the utilitarian would have to weigh the risks. But here is the key point. They would argue that if you can help and there is a good chance that it will result in a greater benefit, like saving a life, then you should step in. You're taking a risk, but the good that comes from helping might outweigh the bad. It is like a math equation in a way. If the benefits of helping are greater than the risks to your safety, then the moral thing to do is clear. Help the stranger. You are creating more happiness overall by making the world a little bit better, even if it comes with some risk. So from a utilitarian perspective, you might feel morally obligated to act, to intervene, because that is what maximizes good for the most people. But hold up, because this is where things get tricky. What if you are really scared? What if the risk feels too great? What if your gut is telling you it is just not worth it? Well, let us now look at another moral theory: deontological ethics. Deontological ethics is a theory that is more focused on duties and principles than on outcomes. It is not about what happens after you act, it is about what you should do, based on certain rules or guidelines. A deontologist might say, look, helping the stranger is a moral duty, and you need to do it because that is the right thing to do. Unlike utilitarianism, where the outcome matters most, deontology is about following a moral rule. The rule might be something simple like, if someone is in need, you have a duty to help them. No matter what happens afterward, you have followed your moral responsibility. So a deontologist would say, even though you do not know this person and helping them could put you at risk, it is still your duty to act. It does not matter if you are scared or if there is a chance you could get hurt. Your responsibility is to help, period. This is where deontological ethics gets kind of intense. It is not about doing what feels right or weighing the risks. It is about doing what should be done based on the principle that helping others in need is always the right thing, no matter the cost. For a deontologist, you do not get to choose based on the consequences. You must follow the moral rule. But here is where we run into an interesting conflict. You have got two powerful arguments pulling in different directions. One says the right thing to do is whatever maximizes happiness, even if that means risking your own safety, and the other says you have a moral duty to help no matter what happens to you. The utilitarian is focused on the end result, the good that comes from your actions. The deontologist cares more about following the moral duty, the action itself, than worrying about the consequences. Now let us take a step back and really think about what these theories mean in real life. It is not easy, right? In theory, helping someone in need is always the right thing to do, but in practice, the stakes are high. Your life is important too, and making the decision to help when you are at risk could feel overwhelming. Both theories have their merits, but in some cases, it is hard to balance them. So, what would you do? Would you help the stranger and risk your own safety? Or would you step back and keep your distance, reasoning that you might be doing more harm than good if you get hurt or make the situation worse? It is a personal decision that each of us would have to make in the heat of the moment. The truth is, these moral theories give us a framework to think about our actions. They do not give us a definitive answer because sometimes there is no one right choice. But by understanding how different moral theories approach situations like these, we get a better idea of why people make the choices they do, and how we might think about our own choices in the future. And here is the thing. Moral decision-making is a skill, just like any other. The more you practice thinking about the consequences, the more you consider your own duties to others, the more you can make thoughtful decisions that feel right to you. No theory can give you a perfect answer, but each one gives us tools to navigate the world. So, next time you find yourself faced with a tough moral choice, whether it is helping a stranger in danger or making some other difficult decision, remember these ideas. Think about the consequences. Think about your duties. And then, make your decision. Whatever you do, just make sure you have thought it through. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Do you lean more toward utilitarianism or deontological ethics? What would you do in this situation? Let me know in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive into moral philosophy, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.